Czech and Slovakia. 30 years ago they used to be married, and I've always thought they are nearly identical. I wonder what differences I will be able to spot between them and what attractions they offer. First we enter Slovakia from the southeast, and right off the bat it sets a positive tone for this trip with smooth roads, overall cleanliness, eye-pleasing architecture and polite people. Only 20 kilometers from the border, the second biggest city in Slovakia emerges, Košice. And to me it's also the most beautiful city in this country. Bit to the north and we got one of the iconic Slovakian attraction, Slovenský raj, where we climb up the gorge along the river. Cool views and a bit of physical effort? I'm in. And the best part? At the end of the trail you can rent a bicycle to ride down to the starting point. Highly recommended. As we keep going north, we get closer to the highest mountains in the country and view gets pretty epic. Next famous attraction is the trail among the trees. And that basically sums up what we're gonna do there. Sadly, my fear of heights and the fact that these wooden constructions wobble under your feet didn't let me enjoy it properly. Now we're going up to the high mountains. This is by far the least enjoyable trail I've ever walked due to these ankle-twisting big round stones. Not to mention I carried my bike with me. But the destination is so worth it. Check it out. And now the same path down. If you want to taste the Slovak folk, there are two super sweet villages. First, Wilkoniec, surrounded by some absolutely idyllic landscapes. Next is Tičmany. Can't decide which one has more beautiful houses. But I just want to point out how easily you can transform a boring wooden shelter into a piece of art. Just buy a bucket of white paint and recall the patterns you exercise on your notebook in kindergarten. And voila! Slovakia, the country of kings. And a king obviously needs a castle, right? So we have abundance of them hidden among the green hills. This one was closed and under reconstruction, but I wanted to see it anyway. Although the mission turned out to be pretty dangerous, because the castle was guarded.
No, to chyba była groźba. Dobra, była, że przeżyje. Ps, ps, poszał won! To mnie nie kop. W wodzie.
Luckily, the goats turned out to be more hostile towards each other than towards the trespasser. And one more castle in Bojnice. Geez, this one is stunning. Quick look at sweet small city of Bańska Bystrica, and we are in the capital, Bratislava. Yep, it has some nice spots and some quirky places. But I would say it's not as attractive as I would expect, because the previous places in Slovakia sets the bar a bit higher. But overall, I'd say it's a pleasure to sightsee Slovakia. Everything here is so sweet and smooth. Now I wonder what Czech Republic will show. Once you cross the border, you can immediately tell that you are in a different country, as the landscape differs a lot. Slovakia is mountains, Czech is hills. It also has some sweet, small, colorful cities. The one that really shines is Mikulov. Beautiful old town, beautiful castle, and amazing landscape around, with some great viewpoints. Next is Telč, with one of the sweetest and in the same time one of the most silent market squares I've ever seen. You think Slovakia had some awesome castles? Well, you gotta check castles as well. I have hard times choosing which of the two countries offer better experience in that matter. Just look at this big beauty. Damn, I think Czechia wins. In order not to pay for parking, I arrived to the next destination at night and I hid in the forest next to the parking lot. This attraction requires to get deep down in the ground. Caves are usually very similar, so after seeing a couple of them, you kinda get bored. But I recommend not to skip this one, as it has a really cool feature. Long underground river, which you will swim through back to the entrance. But Macocha Cave is not the only hole in the ground that offers some badass views. Meet Man-Made Quarry Great America. It's a pretty accurate name, because I kinda feel the Grand Canyon American vibes here. But you gotta be careful. The path that goes along the huge cliffs is not secured with any fence, so it's really easy to slip and slap. And I really mean it, be careful. The numbers of cemetery candles with flowers and pictures of people who died here is not small. And back to the city. You would think that second largest city should kick ass, considering how beautiful the biggest one is. But not this time. Architecture is just nice. Seriously, nothing jaw-dropping here. But I like the city center, because it's full of young people and good energy. Cool place to hang out. I also came across this crazy van. Damn, I'm jealous, it's better than mine. Now it's time for Czech mountains. They are very different from Slovakians. They are more like big smooth hills with a lot of crazy rock formations. Best example? Famous Bohemian Switzerland Natural Park. I got a quick tip for you. Up to that point, the entrance is free. If you want to get under the rock, you have to pay like 10 euros. I'm telling you, it's not worth it, because from this point the view is the best. Next place was so hard to get to. The road was so extremely steep and wet that I almost slipped off down the slope, because my car was losing the grip all the time. Phew, the most stressful situation during this trip. But the views on top were worth the struggle. It was already the middle of October, so full autumn in its amazing colors. As always, I'm climbing with my bike. Damn, even though the fog spoils the view, it's still amazing. We keep the north, and cute and green hills lead us to the biggest attraction of Czech, I can imagine a really cool fantasy movie shot in this epic scenery. Sadly, this experience ended up with a little problem. I managed to find a free space to park my car, just a couple of 100 meters before the official and pretty expensive parking. The staff was pissed by my smart move, so they unscrewed the air valve in one tire, leaving me with this. And finally, Prague, by many named the most beautiful city in Europe. I would say the second most beautiful after Budapest. You probably think it's unbelievable how well preserved this city is, right? Well, true, as during the Second World War, Czech government didn't put up any resistance when Hitler knocked to their doors. So he just took over the city without destroying it. In this case, the chicken mode paid back. The most surprising fact is that this city basically has no ugly places whatsoever. You know, most of the cities usually loses their beauty once you get outside the city center or the old town. But I cycled to the outskirts of Prague, yet in every corner there was some at least decent architectural landscape. Admirable coherence. But you gotta like crowds to enjoy the city, because it's constantly being stormed by armies of tourists from all over the world. Just look at this main square. Pure chaos. In places like this, there are obviously a lot of scams. Check out the YouTube channel, Honest Guide, where a dude hunts and exposes scammers of all kind. And Prague obviously has some cool quirks. And to sum it up, Czech and Slovakia are both pretty sweet and colorful countries, but you can clearly see the difference, especially when it comes to their mentality. Czech people are very laid back and don't give a damn about much, whereas Slovaks are more passionate. When I was talking to locals, I heard one very important sentence that sums it up perfectly. Czech people go through their lives using mainly their brains, whereas Slovaks using their hearts.